Hi, we are Group 10, EMTALA, and we are Allie, Sharon, Shantae, and Jenny.
Our first slide is what is EMTALA. EMTALA was enforced in 1986 as part of the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation, also known as COBRA, and another purpose of COBRA was to help employees who became unemployed to still be provided with a health plan. EMTALA can also be referred to as the anti-dumping law, as the purpose of it was to prevent hospitals from not treating patients who were uninsured or could not provide payment. When Medicare diagnostic-related groups began to emerge, it started to cause problems with hospitals financially because these groups would separate patients by what treatment they needed, and depending on that group, the hospital would be paid, and sometimes it would cause the hospital to lose money. So when hospitals started losing money, they began to turn away patients, but EMTALA now requires hospitals with emergency departments to at least screen and treat a patient in an emergency. They cannot be discriminatory towards any patient regardless of their ability to pay, their type of insurance, or their race. If a patient is found stable, then they can be transferred to a public hospital. The government wanted all hospitals to take this responsibility for charity care, and thus they created this act. If hospitals are not willing to abide by these rules, they can be charged with fees for up to $1.17 million.
Florida emergency services cannot be denied. Once they arrive at the facility, they must be cared for before the payment or the insurance is provided. As they arrive, however, they need to make sure they are always entitled to be notified of their emergency medical rights, as well as when it comes to transfers, they're not able, or they are required to be transferred in a stable or as close to stable condition as possible. If there is a need to be transferred to a medical facility that is specialized in a certain case or a better facility, the hospital is required to accept the transfer, and they cannot be denied. If there are any transfers that are done outside of regulations, they are to be reported.
Then our next slide is the enforcement, the investigation of all EMTALA claims. So the CMS and OIG are jointly responsible for enforcing EMTALA. Complaints are received by CMS regional offices and state survey agencies, and then can be generated by several sources, including a patient, another hospital, or a report from the hospital itself. In addition, a state surveyor may identify a potential EMTALA violation while performing a hospital licensing or recertification survey. The Healthcare Financing Administration, which is HCFA, authorizes investigations of dumping complaints by state survey agencies, determines if a violation occurred, and if appropriate, they terminate a hospital's provider agreement. The HCFA may also seek the input of the local peer review organization, which is the PRO, after the state's investigation to help determine whether the hospital adequately screened, examined, and treated a patient, but must seek PRO input in most circumstances before forwarding a case to the OIG if the alleged violation involves a question of medical judgment. This is what I would think is a fluid act, because there's things that come up constantly that cause a need for new actions or new procedures to be put into place that come through CMS, and OIG is involved in those also. For instance, in 1998, there was a teenager who was shot on a schoolyard. His friends then were able to get him to an alley, I'm guessing near the hospital. But this person lost their life because medical personnel could not get to him. Allegedly, there was a rule prohibiting employees of the hospital from leaving the hospital while on duty. And so no one got to this kid, and he lost his life. And so because of that, then the Clinton administration wanted the hospital penalized. The OIG actually slapped them with a $40,000 fine, but they really had not broken any of the EMTALA rules or regulations. There was nothing put in place. So now there's a provision in there called the 250-yard provision, which also identifies what a campus is and the surrounding area, and takes care of quite a few other things, like if a patient ends up with another emergency while already in the hospital for something else, then they're still taken care of under EMTALA. So then if you go to our next slide, you can find more information at these sites, and our works cited are on that page also.
And our final slide, talking about the Idaho State Health Department. Their role with EMTALA is that the health department disseminates the amendments and new policies from the CMS regarding EMTALA to all entities in the state affected by EMTALA.
And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much.